Hello everybody, I'm Simmons and this is Philosophy for Where We Find Ourselves, April 10th, 2020. Today, I want to talk about something that was suggested to me by a friend of mine who said that he and his wife are expecting a baby and that they are really struggling because even though they are joyful and excited, they're also deeply trepidatious about the idea of bringing a baby into a world defined by such rampant uncertainty. Now, this echoes something I've been hearing a lot from my students, where they say, Dr. Simmons, how do we make sense of our plans post-graduation? Should we even plan for next steps after college, given the fact that we don't even know what next week is going to look like? Should we just shut it down and wait until this is all figured out and then begin to move? And to both my students and also my friend, I want to suggest to them, no, the uncertainty that attends our contemporary situation is ultimately nothing out of the ordinary. Now, our situation is not normal, but the uncertainty that defines it has always been the case. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, and uncertainty is the condition of decision. I think there are a couple philosophical resources, however, that might be a little bit of help during these weird times. The first is Simone de Beauvoir's notion of the ethics of ambiguity. Ethics is not about moral algorithms that instruct us on how to live. Ethics instead is about a way of being oriented, or you might say comported toward the future as a space where risk gets lived. We live into our futures as hopeful opportunities to bring about worlds that are not yet. Ambiguity should not cause us to stop acting. It should not cause us to shut down our plans, but instead should propel us into making better plans and innovating where we are, in order that the future we want to envision is actually a future we have taken steps to create. The second place I think that philosophy offers maybe a resource is the philosophy of Søren Kierkegaard, where he says that life must be lived forward but understood backward. In other words, we never have the final chapter while we are still writing the prologue. Now, this location, this story, narratival dimension of the human experience, again, is not something that should stifle our creativity and shut down our action, but instead is something that should invite us to take up our pens and begin writing. This is scary sometimes. Risk is real. There's one thing to go skydiving. It's another thing to go skydiving without checking your parachute. So when we talk about embracing ambiguity, when we talk about the importance of living forward but only then understanding backward, that is not a defense of foolhardy, nonsensical whim. It's instead an invitation for careful, articulate investment where we are in relationship to a future that we hope to inherit and pass on to our children. Things are uncertain, risk remains, but so do we. To my students, I say, look, invest now in innovation. Become the people now that you will want to have been. It may be the case that the book of our life ends up with a concluding chapter we weren't expecting. That's the nature of ambiguity. That's the nature of uncertainty. But regardless how the book ends, let's do our best to write this chapter in a way that makes the concluding chapter possible in the best way we could imagine. Every day when I conclude these, I say, I'll see you tomorrow unless a piano falls on our heads. That's my way of reminding myself and all of you that we're not guaranteed tomorrow, but we sure as heck are gonna live toward the tomorrow we wanna see. So with that, I'll see you tomorrow, unless a piano falls on our heads.